Hello, everyone. My name is April. I am a bookkeeper, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have about bookkeeping. This is mainly aimed at small businesses or people that want to start up a business. Um, there's a lot of financial decisions people need to make when they're starting a business, and bookkeeper can help you a lot in doing that. And just want to mention that this is a donation based session. So if you can donate to the Good Rule, that would be great. The Good Rule is a nonprofit that advocates for more resources for disenfranchised communities. And there is a donate button around the stream or on our Facebook page. So I'm just going to get started and start talking about bookkeeping. If anyone has any questions, just go ahead and put them in the chat box or send them in and I'll answer real time. So one question that people might have is, what is a bookkeeper? A bookkeeper is someone that tracks your accounts, all the financial accounts for a company, and they're responsible for mostly, probably some or all of the organization's accounts. This is called the general ledger. And with the general ledger, that's all the income coming in and all the expenses going out. So the money coming in and everything going out, they keep track and record of everything so that the business knows what their profits are, how much to pay their employees or themselves, the owners. And this is very important for taxes as well. So if you own a business, you have income, you're going to be taxed if it's over a certain amount of money per year. So it's very good to either have a bookkeeper or take careful track of your books, keep careful track of your books yourself so that you know how much is coming in, so you know how much to pay Uncle Sam, because that is a very important part of owning a business, especially for smaller business owners. Also, it's good to have a good bookkeeping tracking software. There's QuickBooks. There's a lot of other things you can do, like a simple Excel spreadsheet, or even if you have PayPal, they have things that keep track of your money for you as well. And they can spit out reports so you can, keep track of your income and expenses like that. But it's really good to have a special bookkeeping software to really help with keeping long-term records. When I first started my company, I didn't know much about bookkeeping at all. And I was having income coming in from several different spaces and expenses going out from several different places. And it was very hard at the end of the year for taxes to reconcile everything and give a good number to, my tax accountant to see even what I made. So that was a struggle when I was first starting a business, and I'm glad I figured out bookkeeping and how to keep better track of my expenses and income. So when you're hiring a bookkeeper, I have a question here. When you're hiring a bookkeeper, there are a lot of questions you should ask. One is their experience. Their experience as far as how many years they've been bookkeeping, but also their experience in your specific industry. So if you're a retailer and you sell, whatever, trinkets or whatever, there's sales tax things that you need to keep track of. There's certain laws for that kind of thing. So you want to know if that bookkeeper knows exactly what they're doing in your industry. So that's a good question as well. Another thing, ask how much they're charging you. That's very important. You want to do the cost benefit analysis. Bookkeepers range from, if you're hiring a bookkeeper, you can probably, as a W-2 employee, you can probably get away with $18 to probably $25 an hour. But if you're working with a virtual bookkeeper, which a lot of people are doing these days, because you don't need to hire someone full time and pay all those payroll taxes on an employee when a virtual person can do most of your books. So those are about $40 to $65 an hour, but you don't have to pay taxes on them. So generally it's a little bit cheaper. Other things you should ask a bookkeeper is if they do payroll. So if you have employees and you need them to also do the payroll, you want to know if they're, familiar with that and all the laws and taxes associated with that, so they're comfortable and they can really work well with your company. Here's another question. Do you recommend bookkeeping for small businesses? So if it's the size of the small business matters. If you're just starting out and you are like a service company, if you're providing a service, then I would say not at first. Maybe you can get away with just having a bookkeeper check over your books maybe once a month, or in the beginning set up your books, and then maybe a few months later come and check on how you're doing, maybe a couple of training sessions so you can do it yourself if there's a low volume of money coming in and out. But in general, if you start getting bigger, if you're making more than like 60, 70 a year and you have a lot of moving parts, you may want to hire a bookkeeper, because they can do the little things, worry about the little things of your business, the invoicing, the expenses, all of that, and you can actually do your work, what you want to do, the service you're providing your clients, or if you're a retailer, the things you're making, the products, you can focus on that, and the bookkeeper can handle all the little money things and the little laws and the filings that you have to do every year as a small business. So yes, maybe not at first, but eventually if you're getting that big, then you definitely want a bookkeeper to just do the little things. Yeah. Some things a bookkeeper does is, so bookkeepers are different from accountants. An accountant usually is a CPA. They have training. There's different kinds of CPAs. But an accountant for businesses, they can do your taxes. They can advise you financially and all that. A bookkeeper kind of just keeps records and keeps track of what you do, but also they can also give you a great picture of what your income is, your profits. So they can spit out reports for you quickly. They can advise you on day-to-day things or financial things that are, smaller and more important at the moment, where an accountant can advise you long-term, but a bookkeeper can help you, say, if your bookkeeper is keeping track of all your expenses and they notice you're spending way too much on, gas and mileage when this other way is less expensive, they can advise you, hey, why don't we get this, buy a car for the company, a company car, which is expensible, which means it's a tax write-off, and you get extra benefits for having a company vehicle versus paying for all this gas and other expenses out of your pocket for your personal car. So a bookkeeper can help you make those type of decisions. Another question, what is your ideal workflow to receive a new client? So when I'm looking for, because I do virtual bookkeeping, when I have a new client come in, I have to ask a lot of questions. What kind of services do they need from me? Do they need me on a daily basis, or do they need me just to check up? There's all kinds of types of clients and types of businesses out there. So the first thing I need to verify and validate is, what do they need from me? And then I ask to take a look at their books and what, a lot of times the businesses reach out to a bookkeeper when they're having a problem or they need something quickly. Like they need to apply for something, maybe a grant, and they need a profit and loss statement, or they, their taxes aren't matching up. They don't believe what they owe. So they want to make sure their numbers are right. So if it's just something like that, then I'll ask to take a look at the books, see if I can do that. Then I'll quote them a price, and then we can get started. There's also contracts involved because everyone's business is private, and so we sign non-disclosures and everything's secret, so that, there's no legal proceedings needed. So we'll sign contracts and then I'll begin. And once that job is completed, if it's just a one-off thing, then we're done and I'm paid. But if it's a long-term contract, then we start working together and I ask to know more about their business and more about them. So it's a lot of questions and interviewing. Some tax write-offs. Ooh, this is a good question. And I'm going to pull up my list because I really like doing this for my own business. Write-offs. Okay. So yes, deductions. Okay. So number one thing that I just kind of learned about is a small business can write off a small business owner can write off their contributions to retirement plans. So if say if it's a sole prop, they can have an individual 401k or SEP IRA. They can write off any contributions to that. This is amazing because small businesses get taxed quite a bit at first. I feel like it's an inordinate amount, but if you have enough write-offs, the taxes don't affect you as well. And one way to have a good write-off is to put that money away in a retirement plan for yourself or your family. And that can be a tax write-off. So that's a really good one. Open up a SEP or an individual 401k for your small business and start sliding your money into there. I think the amounts that you can put in per year are different, but I think it's up to like 58,000 for most plans. And that's a great way. Another tax deduction. Let's see, a good one. Oh yeah, your mortgage and your mortgage interest. You can write that off. So if you have a home business and if you have a set office space for your business, you can write off that space in your taxes. But the room cannot be used for anything else besides your work. So say if half of this room was a nursery or something, this space here, you can measure that space and they make it a percentage of your household and you can write off that percentage of mortgage or rent. Also, if you have a storage that you need to store things, like say if you do, make clothes, you need to store extra equipment or whatever at a storage facility or do your work there, that rent, you can write that off. That's a utility. Utilities, you can write off a percentage of them as well. The business use of your car, you have a personal vehicle, and also the depreciation for the cars as well, because most capital equipment and vehicles depreciate, and even land, if you have land or property, it depreciates over time, and you can write off that depreciation, and that's a really great business write-off. Let's see. Oh yeah, bank fees. If you have a lot of business checking accounts, which I really don't like this, but a lot of business checking accounts, they charge the company, they charge their clients a fee to have their bank account there. So it's like you're a small business, you have a bank account, but if you have under, like, I think for Bank of America, it's like maybe 25 grand in your checking account, if you have under that much, they charge you $40 a month for that. Okay, great. But, I'm not there yet, but at least you can write those business bank fees off. So if it's your checking account for your business, you can write those fees off. So just keep track of them. When you advertise or promote, so like say you have to buy posters or you pay, the yellow pages for a listing or even Google and like Yelp to run ads for you, all that, you can write that off. All advertising and promotional expenses, write off flyers, business cards. You can write all of that off. If you use a contractor to help you do anything, or subcontractors, say like construction businesses, they'll use other people to help and they subcontract. That is all that labor, you can write that off. All labor for all employees you can write off usually too under payroll, but for subcontractors or like say if you get t-shirts made, you can write that all off. Okay, let's see the next question. How do you advise a business owner that starts a new business to document expenses before contracts are paid out? Yes. Basically using personal credit cards, checking accounts to pay business checking expenses. So I get that a lot, especially with, people starting up a new business. The last thing they actually think about is opening up a business bank account. But that's actually the first thing you should really think about, because as soon as your business starts, you need to start tracking the expenses and the money and the income coming in. So I always tell them, get a business bank account, but if they don't, you have to track it. Like I didn't at first, and I had to track mine. I used an Excel spreadsheet, and I think I was getting money from like PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, Cash. So I made a spreadsheet, and there's a lot of great types of spreadsheets. If you Google, profit and loss spreadsheets or income or expense spreadsheets for small businesses, a lot of options will come up. But also on Etsy, a lot of people make printable ones and digital files of some that are already made up. So I got a couple of those, and every time something came in, I would type it into that, and I'd keep a record of it. So like if it was in my PayPal, then I print out the receipt of it. And so I'd keep that in a file of income, and then same thing with expenses. And then I log it into each one to the spreadsheet, each one. And I would keep track like that. And that's how you can document things before. Say, also if you're a small business, you're about to start up, and you want a checking account, but you have to pay for things first. You have to pay for your business filing. You have to pay for a new phone number, a website, and all that stuff. Keep track of all that. Put it in your little spreadsheet. Keep the receipts, and then once you get your business checking account and say your bookkeeping software, your bookkeeper can put all those expenses in there. Post like with a journal entry or there's other accounting ways we can do that. We can put it all in there so it all comes up on your new statement. It won't come up out of your bank account, your business bank account, but it'll come up on your statement as those expenses. So then when tax time comes around, you can still get those benefits. So, but that's very, very important. Get a business bank account. Don't pay things with your personal card. Don't mix that stuff up. It's just a hassle for you later. And then you might accidentally forget something and miss out on tax benefits, come tax time. Another question, do bookkeepers also file business taxes? So if you're a business owner, you want to go to an accountant or CPA, a tax CPA, to file your taxes. You can also do it yourself. Your bookkeeper, if they have experience doing that, you'll want to ask them if they're comfortable doing that, if they have experience filing your taxes to do that. But usually, especially if you're new, starting out, you'll probably want to see a CPA. But there's a lot of types of business taxes. So if you're talking about like the end of the year, say you're sole prop, that's a Schedule C form on your taxes. That just is a sole prop or an individual LLC. Your taxes are on your own individual form. So that's just a Schedule C form on your taxes. So bookkeeper can help you with that. All you need is your profit and loss numbers. So all your bookkeeper really needs to do is run that report, profit and loss statement for the year. You get those two numbers, plug that in, and that's all you really need. You can do that as well if you're keeping very careful track. Now, if you're a S corporation or a LLC partnership, then you'll want to see a CPA because there's a few more details in there, and that's a whole different form. So that's not on your 1040. That's a whole different form. So that might be more difficult for you, but your bookkeeper is integral in helping you in that because they can give you the numbers you need. You should always see your bookkeeper first, like I need this report, this report, this report. They'll prepare everything for you and all the receipts you need, and then go to your accountant with all that. Your accountant can spit it out in a couple of hours, So once the bookkeeper gives you those good numbers, you're good to go. Yeah. Good question. Oh, and also there's other taxes with businesses. So that's the yearly income tax, but there's also your in California anyways, there's your statement of information form that needs to be filed. I think when you first start up, I want to say every year, but then it goes to every 5 years, depending on the type of business you are. And it costs $25 to file that, and your bookkeeper can do it. Also, you as like a little form, quick and easy. But if you're late filing that, I think it's due in the spring. If you're late filing that, it's about $250 penalty. So $25 to $250, it's a big difference. Look it up. Yeah, so every business that is, I think it's a corp. Let's look this up. So LLCs and corporations need to file a statement of information form. This form needs to be filled out. Doesn't say, but you can check on it every year. You can do it online. You have, once you start your company, you have 6 months to turn that in. And you can check right now. You can go to businesssearch.sos.ca.gov and you can look up your business to see if you need to file that. Because once you look up your business, then it'll tell you on this governmental form here, the listing of all the businesses, they will let you know if you're late on any business tax filings besides the income tax. That is very important. Not a lot of little businesses know that you need to file this form just about almost every year, and they get hit with that $200 penalty, because after the $200, they're not going to come at you or anything, but it's just going to be, you're going to be non-compliant. So if you're trying to get a grant or a loan, or say a small business designation, Better Business Bureau designation, things like that, they're going to pull this up. They're going to look at it and they're going to be like, oh, wait, we can't work with you yet because you need to file this statement of information or articles of incorporation, things like that. Do you work with clients in other states outside of California? So I don't have a permanent client outside of California yet, but I can definitely do that. As far as like taxes go with other states, I'm unfamiliar. So I would advise, when if they have tax questions, to definitely ask their local accountant or something like that. But I can definitely do the books, because doing the books in the business is completely different from taxes. It helps with the tax process, having really great organized books, but it's separate. So I can definitely do the, bookkeeping for clients outside of California. Another thing would be also the sales tax law. So if they were selling products or food, then I'd need to probably definitely need a refresher course on learning about the local sales taxes. But if they have a software like QuickBooks Online, all that stuff is built in. So if you, no matter where you are, you start up your QuickBooks Online account and you set it up, and you say that you need to charge sales tax in your local city, and it knows all the laws. You type in where you're at, you type in the percentages that the added percentage, because it already has percentages loaded with the local governments. You add in whatever you need to add in, or take out what you need to take out, and it will keep track of the taxes. And it will even it won't file your sales taxes for you, but it'll keep the number for you. So it's amazing, because once your sales tax time comes up to pay, you go log into the site to pay it. QuickBooks knows exactly all the numbers you need to plug in. So I think I'm pretty confident that I could do the bookkeeping for clients outside of California, even with the sales tax issue. Also, payroll taxes are different in other states, but if you have a service like QuickBooks Online, they do that automatically. So I wouldn't even have to. I would watch over it, but they file all that stuff automatically. So it's really, really helpful. Let's see. I'll talk about, until I get another question, I could talk about the type of business documents that you should make if you're starting up a new business. One thing is obviously a company letterhead. That's pretty simple, but it's really important because if you want to be taken seriously with new clients or even, organizations like banks or lawyers or anything like that, then having your own company letterhead is very important. You can get a logo and your business name and all that, and then type up a letterhead. Super simple. You should have an EFT document. So if you're working with a lot of other vendors and clients, like bigger organizations that will pay you through ACH, which is basically bank to bank transfer, then you should have a document that shows your banking information. It'll need to have your account number and your routing for your business bank. And you shouldn't be scared about that because nobody can take money with those two numbers. Nobody can take money out of your account without way more information, but they can definitely put money in, and that's what you want. So an EFT document would have your business letterhead, your address, your business license number, and your EIN number, which is your tax ID number. Your DUNS number, your DUNS number, which is a really important thing to have if you need credit. So some companies, they need to buy products in order to create products, or they buy and sell products. So those companies that are buying a lot of products, they should have a DUNS number, because the DUNS number basically shows your credit score. Basically, it shows like that you are a credible company, and that if you take something or borrow something for 30 days net, that you will pay it back. And that the DUNS is kind of like your credit score in the business world, your DUNS and Bradstreet number. So you can get one easily, but if you want them to track you long term, I think it's a subscription service you can pay for. But that's a good thing to have on your EFT document. Also, if you are a reseller, put your resale permit number on there. The company officer that it has their name on the bank account and their information, or the accountant or bookkeeper's name and information, so that if the companies want to pay you or they have questions, they can contact that person quickly. And your W-9. We'll talk about that. I have a question. Can you just have a regular account, or does it need to especially need to be a business account? So you're saying basically if you can have just another checking account, so you already have a Bank of America personal account, you just open up another personal account and track all the business through there. So yeah, sure, that can work. It's not, I would say for long-term, no, because personal checking accounts work differently than business checking accounts do. And one big thing is that if you were going to get a grant or a loan from, whatever, usually they like you to have a business bank account, unless you're sole prop. If you're a sole prop or an individual LLC, then a personal checking account that's only used for business is okay. If it's a corporation or S corp or a partnership LLC, you definitely need a business bank account. Otherwise, it's gonna start looking like, it's gonna start looking real fishy. All money going into a personal checking account with only your name on it or your spouse's name, that's gonna look not good, especially for taxes and auditing coming up. So you don't want that if you're a bigger company. A sole prop, you can probably get away with it for a while, but I would suggest getting a business checking account specifically for business, because they have a lot of benefits. The big banks are kind of annoying, again, like I said, because they charge you for it, but there's a lot of smaller banks and credit unions that have no fees, that are very easy to work with. I would just also caution for business, the smaller business bank accounts, if you can get ACH bank to bank transfers, because a lot of like the smaller credit unions and stuff, they don't have Zelle yet, and they don't it costs like $1 to get incoming money or send money out. So if you're doing a lot of ACH like that, then I would try to get an account or a checking account that wouldn't give you issues with that. But for the most part, like, so to sum up, you can get away with it if it's sole prop, but for long term, you want a business bank account, and it's not hard to set up, and it's easy if you already have a accounting software like QuickBooks Online or others. It's easy to add a business checking account and then seamlessly start using it. You don't have to like transfer a bunch of money, and you don't have to do all that kind of stuff, because most softwares can keep track of more than one bank at a time. So if you were to get a business checking account, start that up, then change that account and all your like your Venmos and your PayPals and everything, so things start going through to the business account. And then you can start using that one mainly and use the personal one less. And if you want to transfer your money, you totally can, but it's not 100% needed, because in these softwares, the reports will still come out the same, right? You add a checking account, you start using that, you run your profit and loss report, and it pulls information from all the accounts you have hooked up to it. So your numbers are still going to be accurate. So it's not really that hard of a thing to change over, but you definitely want to look for the best business account you can. It's kind of hard to find a good one that can work with you. There's a lot of options. So I was talking about the W-9 form. So your W-9 is very important. You need it. I guess companies like retail companies and companies that buy a lot of large amount of products from other vendors, but also work with bigger institutions like colleges or, bigger companies that are going to pay you. They want to see your W-9 every time. And it's a very easy form to fill out. You could just go online, IRS W-9 form. It'll take you right to the PDF. It's just your business name information, if you have a second name for your business, and then your EIN number, you sign the bottom of it. And just having that every year, because the year changes at the top, it shows other businesses who ask for it, because you don't just send it out willy-nilly. When business asks for it, then you'll have that to give to them. It kind of shows you're reputable to them, and they need it for their records as well. So it's good to know about that and then have it. And like I said, only really big businesses will ask for that. If you're like providing services, or if you're creating niche products and that you need to be paid by the bigger companies for it, then they'll ask for your W-9 form. Also, if you're doing real estate, selling, if you're like a landlord and you have an apartment building or a duplex, and you need to work with, other people, vendors, things like that, to do repairs, things like that, they might ask for a W-9 form. Let's see. I had a thought for another form that's really useful, but I lost it. Okay, so there's a lot of help for small businesses out there that need like help to get off the ground, and what's it called? Money to start working out there, and to start their companies up. And there's a huge list of resources to help, especially small Black-owned, veteran-owned businesses like that. And you can go to the Small Business Certification website to see some of those companies that can help your company. But what you'll need to do to get that type of help a lot of times is to certify as a small business. So you can get certified as a small business from the California SBA. It's not necessary. You don't have to do it, and it's a really easy process, but it does help a lot, especially with these bigger companies, because like Google, Apple, all these companies, they want to work with diverse small businesses, because they have all these diversity and inclusion resources and programs now. So like, yeah, they can get these t-shirts from this big old t-shirt company in, Nevada, or they can get it from your small Black owned business. And because they would prefer to get it from your diverse business because it will check boxes for them. Because a lot of companies these days are making commitments, like Facebook and other companies are making commitments to, frequent those companies that are more disadvantaged. So they prefer to work with someone like you because it ticks a box for them. But how are they going to know you fit into that box? If you get your small business certified at the SBA, then they'll know. Perfect. That's what they look for, So now we have you have more of an advantage over those other vendors because you have this certification. So that's really helpful. If you work, like I said, if you work with a lot of big companies, if you're a small business owner like me, that it wouldn't really help me out because I only work with small companies. But if you're aiming to do work for these big companies out here, if you have that certification, that really helps out. Also, you can contact me for other smaller firms that can help you with your with your entrepreneurship, as far as getting how to start social media. There's so many resources for us nowadays that can not only just help us get started, but also give us the best ideas on how to get the best customers, how to make your dream come true, basically your business come true. Lots of ideas. Okay. Also, you want to get a website. So back to starting a new company, one of the first things you want to do is get your website up and going, because when you're out there trying to get customers, you're handing them your card and everything. The first thing they're going to do is look you up, especially if they are seriously interested in you. They want to look you up. They're going to look at all your stuff. And I've had a few bookkeeping clients ask me, oh, I see your LinkedIn and I see you here. You do a lot. You sell microscopes and you do this and that. I'm like, oh, yeah, I did that like 10 years ago, But, so they look you up and everything. So having a website that shows who you are, and what you're offering is super important. So that should be one of the first things you get up. Checking account, all these legal documents, and then like a website. Okay, and so if you're if you're a small business in the retail thing, like you're selling lotions or products, candles, clothes, food, things like that, you'll need to know your areas, so your local laws with sales tax and your local laws with if you do food, the food laws. You'll probably need to get set up with the health department as well, because I know a lot of small vendors get charged a lot if they don't have the proper documentation for food. Even if you're making it out of your own house, I think you need some proper permitting and stuff for that. I don't know about that, but I would definitely look into it if you're trying to do that. So with the sales tax, every county has different sales tax. So you only need sales tax if you're selling a product. If you're selling services or things like that, you don't need to worry about sales tax. But if you're selling any kind of product that exchanges hands, any goods, you'll need to know what your sales tax amounts are and who to charge, because you can't charge Nevada a sales tax that you can charge someone, your neighbor. Let's see. Question: how much are your services with a small business just started bookkeeping? So if a small business just starts up, you're just starting, then I give a free consultation for an hour, and that's just to advise you and look at small things here and there and give you some legal advice and stuff. And if you want to start working together, let me go to my website and check. I charge $50 an hour for like daily or weekly help. So if you think you'll need my help 5 hours a week, 3 hours a week, something like that, then I do $50 hourly. But if you want me to come in at the end of the month, once a month, once every 3 months, something like that, then I charge $150 flat, just to get in there, fix things. We'll have a short conversation on like, what's this, what's that, fix things up, shoot you out in a report, and I charge $150 for that. If you're a company coming in and you've been doing business for a while, maybe like anything over a year, and your stuff is a mess, like you didn't know what you were doing, you have things here, there, over there, all that, then I charge $250 to get you all set up and started fresh. And then, you can go from there. I send you out the door. So that's $250 for like an onboarding, like, fix all your stuff up, train you a little bit, and $250 right out the door. So yeah, those are my rates, and I believe they're on my website. But also, all my consultations are free, so you can have a calendar on there. So just log in there, make an appointment with me. You can have a one-on-one chat of all your business related financial questions. I'm not that great with the personal stuff yet, as far as personal finances. I want to be one day, but I'm still working on that. But that I can definitely do your business stuff. So I think with the sales tax, the last thing I wanted to say about that was oh yeah, I don't know if a lot of people probably know this already, but if you resell things, like say you buy stuff, like say you do soaps, you buy your products in bulk, you don't have to pay taxes on those because you're reselling it. So you need to have something that's called a reseller certificate. And you can go online, type in resale certificate California. It'll pop up the PDF right there. You fill that out. I think you need to put your business license number on there as well. So you should have a business license. And that tells those vendors of these bulk items that you don't need to pay taxes because you're a reseller. So you're going to buy it from them and resell it and get taxes from your customers on those items. And then you're going to pay the sales taxes to the government. So you don't need to pay taxes twice. So maybe not a lot of people that know that. I learned it a few years ago. So that's important as well. If you resell things, if you buy anything, you should not be paying sales tax on it. And I think Amazon has a business version for Amazon businesses. So if you're a business and you buy a lot of your stuff, even from Amazon, Amazon won't charge you tax either if you have that certificate loaded up. So that's a good tip. And also, if resellers buy from you, you don't need to you ask them for their certificate. You don't charge them taxes either. Okay, let's talk about paying yourself as a business owner, how you should pay yourself. So there's different ways to do this. So if you're a sole proprietorship or a individual LLC, you can take owner draws or disbursements. You don't have to pay yourself a payroll. So what that means is, say your business makes $50,000 a year and you want to pay yourself, what is that? What's a good, like $2,000 each month. So you can just transfer that money from your business account to your personal account, and that is your paycheck. That's called an owner draw or a disbursement, because if you're a sole prop or a single owner LLC, all the income you make with your company is considered your income. So what that means is basically anything your company makes, even though you only give yourself a small portion of that money, the government sees everything you made as your income. So say your company makes $50,000 a year, you only give yourself $2,000 a month in your personal account to do with what you will. But when you're doing your taxes, what your company makes goes on as your income. So that $50K goes on as your income, not the $24K you've been sliding yourself. No, it's the whole $50K. So the government sees, you made $50K this year. Your income tax is on that $50K. It's not on the $24K that you've been giving yourself. It's on the $50K. So I'm sorry I'm repeating it so much, but it was blowing my mind a couple years ago when I started. So I'm just like, that's why my taxes were crazy. at the time. So that whole thing is yours. So you're paying taxes on that whole chunk of money, which, it's fine. You have the money, you pay it, but it's just good to know that that's why your income bumps up so much. Even you're paying yourself minimally. So when you pay yourself as a sole proper or single owner LLC, you take a owner draw or disbursement. Another thing that means is that there's no payroll taxes. So in California, we have payroll taxes. As a W-2 employee, you are getting paid from your employer and you pay payroll taxes, 7%. The payroll taxes in California are about 15%. So you pay 7% out of your check to payroll taxes, Medicare, Social Security, and I think one more, SUI or something like that. Those are the payroll taxes. You pay half of those. Your employer pays the other 7%. So your employer pays payroll taxes on you to the government, and then you also pay payroll taxes to the government. So you pay 7 and they pay 7. Now, 7.5, 7.5. Now, as a sole proper single owner and you're giving yourself disbursements, you're not paying any payroll taxes. So the payroll taxes the taxes at the end of the year are so high because you have to pay payroll taxes. That 15%, you're paying it all yourself. So now you're paying 15% payroll and you're paying your income tax. So whatever your income tax bracket is, let's say 20%, also now you're paying 15% payroll tax on that whole 50K that you made for that year, that your business made for that year. So now you're up 35% taxes on that amount only. So you're just like, what in the world? So very good to know. It's not bad if you know and you can prepare for it, but if you didn't know, like I didn't know a couple years ago, I was surprised and shocked and pissed. But, once you get to a certain level, then those taxes won't hit you as hard. But it's very good to know about that. So as a sole proper LLC, you only pay yourself in draws, and those are equity. So it's not as an expense. So payroll wages for employees and subcontractors, those are an expense. When you're paying yourself as an owner, that's an equity account, which is totally different form, and it's not expensible, right? So you're paying yourself, and then hold on. So we'll come back to that conversation. I got a question. Is there a payroll company you prefer to work with? Payroll company. So there's a lot of payroll companies out there for different sizes of businesses. I have not worked as a business owner with any of them. The only thing I work with ADP as a bookkeeper, filling in the reports and logging the payroll. It's ADP. I like it. It has a lot of like reporting options, and the GUI is easy to work with. But I mainly have run payroll through QuickBooks. So QuickBooks Online has a payroll option, and it's really easy to work with and fast and quick, and they have an automated system, and it's really easy. So I mainly have most of my payroll experiences with QuickBooks Online. I've also worked with, I think, Paychecks before, and that's for like anyone, for like one business owner and up. I don't know much about it though. And I know some other individuals that work with good payroll company softwares, and I can give out information about, what other companies to contact from some people I know. But the only real payroll I'm really, really, really intimately familiar with is QuickBooks Online. And the whole payroll discussion is kind of like a rabbit hole. It's very, very interesting because there are so many extra things you have, and taxes and filings you have to do when you're paying payroll, even on just yourself. So there's every quarter with, I think, the EFTPS system, the California payroll workers system, and also EDD. You have to file with them every 2-3 months, I think every quarter, a 940 or 941 form. 941, I think, is for the whole year, but the 940 form is every quarter. And you have to file with them and tell all the wages you paid, all the taxes you paid for that time. So a company like QuickBooks, and I think all those other payroll companies I mentioned, they do that automatically for you. So you sign up, you put in all your information, and then they will send those reports out back to the government automatically. So you don't really have to worry about it. You can go and check it every few months, and they'll let you know this tax was just paid, this filing was just sent in, and all of that. So you can check up on it and keep the reports. But they pay them and they do it, they file them automatically. And I didn't know all that about payroll. So it's, if you have employees, W-2 employees, and you didn't know that you have to file a 940 and 941 form every quarter and every year, you're doing something wrong. So you have to get a bookkeeper account in there and check on everything, log into those systems and make sure your filings are going out. And if you want to get certified with like the SBA or other organizations like that, you'll need they'll want those forms. They want to see who you're paying and how much taxes you're paying. So they want to see all that. So you need to produce those records. So if you don't even know what they were, then so you want to check up on those things. Where can we find these forms? So all the forms I'm mentioning, you can literally Google them, and the IRS is the first website that pops up, and they'll have a PDF link. And also, so like say if we just right now as a practice, Google a 941 tax form, and then the first thing that pops up is the IRS PDF. So all tax forms are very easy to find. You just plug in the number and they pop up immediately. But if you are with a payroll system, QuickBooks Online, ADP, Paychex, all the many out there, they should already be filing these for you. So if you're with ADP and you pay your employees through ADP, they already know, and they're already filing it, and if they're not filing, you probably have some notifications in the corner when you log into your site, and it's probably saying, hey, we need your authorization on these forms so we can send them in, because these payroll companies are amazing in that they do all that for you. So, but it's just good to know that it's happening. I didn't know it was happening. So that's what's happening. It's very important to be knowledgeable about those things. Now, for payroll, paying yourself as a S corp or a corporation or a partnership, that's different. So you can pay yourself a payroll, like a W-2 employee, if you're an S corp or a corporation. You can also pay yourself payroll as a sole prop, but it's just a lot more work. If it's just you can just give yourself a disbursement and remember that you have to pay that percentage in taxes on it and set that aside on your own. So it's less work and less money. But you can pay yourself a payroll and get hooked up with a payroll company if you would like. You're also paying those fees. They're all tax deductible though. So if you want to pay yourself payroll as a sole prop, you totally can. The fees for the payroll service are deductible. The tax is not, but the wages I think are. And same with the S corp and a corporation. So if it's you and even one or two other people, you want to put them on W-2 payroll, and you can pay the payroll taxes and pay them and pay the service, and all that's tax deductible. So it's very good. Also, because you're the owner, you can still give yourself disbursements. And the advantage of doing it that way, of paying yourself a payroll and also giving yourself disbursements as like an S corp, is that you only have to pay, you don't have to pay payroll taxes on your disbursements anymore. So like with our previous example, you have a company, it's paying $50K, you're an S corp. So you're the owner of an S corp. You pay yourself payroll. You pay your employee 1 or 2 or none payroll as well. You can also give yourself, say you pay your payroll, it's $2,000. Now, say something comes up, whatever, you want a little bit more, you can slide yourself $3,000 as a disbursement, not as payroll, but as a disbursement, and it's taxed differently. So your payroll is already getting the payroll tax from you and your company, and that's already happening. But if you disperse yourself an extra $2,000 in 1 or 2 months or every month, then that extra $2,000 is not getting taxed at payroll taxes. So that $2,000 is not getting taxed at 15%. It's only getting taxed at your regular income taxes number. So that's an advantage, a huge advantage of becoming an S corp, even if it's only you, because you can pay yourself payroll. Those taxes are all deductible or the expenses are all deductible, and then you can also give yourself disbursements whenever you need them on the side. Now, the disbursements can't be more than your payroll. So if you're disbursing yourself, you're $50,000, you're paying yourself $24,000 payroll, but your disbursements are also $24,000, then you're gonna get audited. So don't do that. But if you're giving yourself maybe half of that, as a disbursement, that's totally fine, because it's seen as equity in your own business. It's seen as putting money back into your own business, and that is totally above board, and you won't get audited for that. So that's how you would pay yourself as an owner in those different tax types. Let's see. Okay, so let's talk about like the steps if you want to start up a business. I always tell my friends that want to start up a business, the first thing, especially if it's like a service type business, the first thing you want to do is have a client already. You already know what you want to do. You want to have your clientele already, and that might be hard to do. But for myself, I didn't even think about starting my own company until I already had a client. Then I was like, okay, well, I can do this on my own, and I can get more after that. But it was kind of like a steady step. It wasn't very risky, but I think that's a good tip to already have, clients lined up, or where we're going, or at least a heavy investor, so you have money waiting for you to build on. You can get loans. There's lots of small business loans out there and help. But the first step is also identify what you want to offer and why. Who do you want to sell to? What are you selling? Are you selling yourself? Are you selling a brand, a feeling, a service? You want to know exactly what you have to offer, especially if you want to be successful. You need to stand behind it. You need to know exactly what it is you want to offer. And then you need to do the math first before you even step out. What are people, what's your competition like? Are there other people already doing this? Like what can you do that's different from other people? Know your value in it, know who you want to work with, what you want to do, and then take that step. But you need like how they say it takes a village to raise a child. It also takes a village to help someone start a business. You don't want to just go into it on your own. You want to have help and listen to other people and, get as much advice as possible, because it is really risky. So that would be my advice on first steps on starting up a business. And that's my time. So I'm just going to thank everyone for watching and hearing me rant about one of my favorite subjects, which is bookkeeping and taking care of your business. My name is April again, and my website is called Myles Ink. And you can go on there to find me, log into for a consultation, and we can talk privately. Again, you can donate to the Good Rural on the Facebook website, and I think there's a link somewhere. And then thank you for watching, everyone. Have a good day.